Mentally feel like Kobe, I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me, I don't care if you push a 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili, from young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's the reach. We ready? Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the One-on-One Sports Show on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I'm Mr. Bennett, followed by my partners, as always, Trey F, the OG. Then we got Shaunie and Dontae, those Texas boys, in the house once again. Good to be with you guys here on this Wednesday, and sort of chop it up in the world of sports. What's going on, gentlemen? Just go around the room.
Man, everything good over here. I'm over here battling this cold, but I'm good.
How you get a cold in Texas?
Man, the weather, and then I guess I couldn't dodge it because my little one, she had daycare. They get everything.
Oh, blame the little
one.
She
brought something home. My wife caught something, and I'm just close quarters. They got to get into my nostrils.
I hear you. We'll get well soon. How about you, Dontae? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just man, wrestling around with these kids, man.
Trey, aren't we blessed, man? We survived all that. These guys are still going through. They got the Towers. They still got taking the kids to practice and all that kind of stuff. We done, bro.
Yes.
How you doing, man?
I'm okay, man.
We might have lost some hair over it, but we done.
Yes, I'm glad all of y'all are safe, man. With all the events going on,
for real.
Texas town, man. So I'm glad y'all. And if those are y'all issues today, man, y'all blessed, man. Y'all blessed.
Yeah. So, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Hey.
Well, once again, appreciate you guys being here tonight. And again, certainly we ask that, certainly if you see our Cash App scrolling on the bottom of the screen, we appreciate any support that you give us personally. But more importantly, we ask that you support the Black Man Unfiltered Network that gives you content 7 days out of the week, all different types of shows and all different types of topics. So we ask that you support the network. Click the like button when you come in here tonight. Consider giving a Cash App to the network itself, and just spread the word about what we're trying to do in the space here. A lot of different variety here, all on the BMU network. We thank you certainly for the platform that he's given all of us, that we can certainly be in this place. So salute to the Black Man Unfiltered for this opportunity. So let's chop it up, gentlemen. So we're going to be sort of all over them. So we're 1 week away from training camp. I see Dontae, he's already in training camp mode already. I know you can't wait for that, and I know also next week is also the start of the 2024 Olympic Games. And so, certainly we can certainly chop it up there a little bit in terms of the festivities that are going on around that front. So, so certainly lots of things that are coming up. We just had the All-Star game, baseball All-Star. I don't know if you guys are into it, the home run derby. I go in and out. I used to be into the home run derby a lot in the All-Star game. Then I kind of fell off a little bit. But I don't know if you guys was able to catch any action, any points that you saw from that. But that's typically a fun time to check out the festivities. Were you guys into it this year?
I actually missed it because I was out and about yesterday.
Mm.
So yesterday was the game, the home run derby. I was out and about as well, so I missed both of them.
Right. Yeah, I definitely got to go back and check it. I caught the tail end with the winner, but you always, it's weird. It's never like the big guys. I haven't seen since Mark McGwire, but like the favorite going in was the guy who actually won it. You know what I'm saying? It's like the big guys who you expect to go in there and just crush it. They have a terrible, and then some no name comes out of nowhere and he just wins it. Maybe just the pressure's just too much. I guess like LeBron James with the dunk contest. That's probably why he never wanted to go into it, because he didn't want to be embarrassed and not win it.
I'm hearing like, for example, Jordan Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he was invited, but he declined because now, you hear players saying that home run derby could potentially hurt their swing.
Yeah,
that's what I hear. I don't know if that's real or imagined, because like I said back in the day, Mark McGwire.
Every swing you swing so aggressive, and every swing you trying to hit it out the park, and you just doing that. I heard this year was a different format, but I know before
it was a time with a break. I'm into baseball, man. I don't know about y'all, man. I like all of them, baseball, football.
Right.
I'd be watching, yeah.
And the All-Star, the home run derby, it was pretty interesting. They go like 2 minutes, then they give a break, then they go 3 to 4 strikes. As long you get 3 strikes. So it was a different format that allowed them to take some Gatorade breaks.
Yeah.
I think that was cool, and it sort of threw some rhythms off. Some rhythms started early, and then as the break, it threw it off. Some started after the break. So it was an interesting format to keep it a little more balanced. I watched the game too, man. That one pitcher who's a rookie, he threw shutout innings, man. He's gonna be if he stay healthy, man, he'll be all right. So
yeah. Well, I have one peeve about the home run derby that's something that I wish they would automate a bit. Like I hate the practice pitcher or whatever just throwing, just heaving balls from that screen or whatever. Why not just get an automated, just like you go to the ballpark and what you would or to the batting cage or whatever. But this time you can amp it up. So like the first round, you have like an 80-mile-an-hour fastball or whatever it comes out. The advanced round gets to 90, and then the final round get like 100. So again, it's straight on. It's a strike. So who can hit these balls out just coming fast and hard? But it used to be like these practice pitchers and whatnot. They're putting these lobs up there, and it's just too many wasted pitches in terms of a guy trying to find the right ball to swing at. So that's something I wish they just automate. Just like you go to the batting cage and you just got you're just hitting balls or whatever. How many can you hit out in that? I think that'd be a lot. I think that'd be a more entertaining just seeing a practice pitcher throw 20 balls before a guy finds a pitch that he likes. So I don't know what you guys feel about that, but go ahead, Dontae.
Now, that could actually work, but I think the fact that they're coming up there and they just kind of lobbing them because we're trying to see how many they can go and hit, and for the most part, whoever's pitching to you is going to give you balls where you want to, and you practice because I think they would have put on a good show. But I do think something like the cages, because the cages, people have been using batting cages since forever, so that wouldn't be the worst idea. But
even if you went, like I said, amp it up to 110. If you can hit 110 mile hour, they say you can hit any ball as long as you know what's coming. It's not like the machine's going to throw you a curveball or an off speed pitch and then throw you a heater. You know what's coming, so as long as you can time it coming in. Is generally going to be a strike or a fastball coming in, and just see. It's like I said, it's a skill. Can your hand-eye catch up to a ball coming at you 110 miles an hour? I mean, that to me that would be like an additional wrinkle as you go through the rounds. Who can actually keep up with the ball? So I just think that's something just a bit more controlled. But I just think there's just a lot of wasted space in the derby that could be eliminated if you have something a bit more consistent.
It'll level the playing field for sure. I can see that, just the way you described the scenario, having that, because y'all know that they're going to try to work in these robot umpires next year. So,
right.
But I can see in the home run derby, because like you said, the ball's coming 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. The championship, amp it up to 110, 115.
Yeah.
Guys battle it out. And the ball, because we choose the pitcher that we want to throw the ball to us.
Right.
They get to choose it. So
yeah, it's almost like this is supposed to be competitive. How's that competitive when you got your own handicap essentially going into the into the contest?
Yeah, just line it up on the mound and let it just jack.
Let it fly. And who can catch up to it is who can catch up to it. And again, also keep in mind with the just the kinetics of it. I mean, the harder the pitch coming in, if you do hit it on that sweet spot, you can have stadium clearing balls. I mean, forget upper deck. You can actually have balls going out of some of these things. I know San Francisco, every home run seems to go out the ballpark or whatever, but I'm just saying, you hit that right, that kinetic 600, 700 foot homers would be like, and that I think adds an additional wrinkle of excitement. Or you get a lot more broken bats. Either way, more broken bats, or you're going to have longer home runs. I would say, yeah. Shout out to Lost Translation. Thanks for joining up tonight. Yeah, let it rip and just say who.
Long distance, just change the bats. Go to middle.
No, man, gotta stay.
That's too dangerous, man. You'd have to fence off the entire ballpark with those nets. Like the whole
rocket launchers coming off them.
Oh my gosh!
A lot of them baseball players, you don't see it because of their jerseys.
Right.
Them dudes are big.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a minute. The evolution of the baseball player. 'Cause I think, now again, I think there's a risk to it all. I mean, like obviously I'm a Yankees fan, so I got Aaron Judge and Carlos Stanton's whatever. I mean, these are football players playing baseball. And I'm just thinking, you go back 25, 30 years ago, you didn't have dudes with this kind of, but just like with all sports, back in the day, again, they didn't encourage lifting. Certain sports, they didn't encourage lifting weights. Trey, you know that. Basketball, baseball, they didn't want you getting muscle bound. Or the myth was you get muscle bound. They didn't want you doing that or whatever. Now these baseball players are like, these were football players 25, 30 years ago, and all these guys are jacked on something. You see the uniforms, they're not wearing them loose uniforms. It's like everything's like hugging on them. You see the thigh muscles and everything now. So these guys are just, it's linebacker, exactly. Linebackers playing center field. It's crazy now.
The linebackers and big safeties, because I want to say the rookie for the Rangers, they say his lower half, his thigh muscles, he is just like a big guy. They say Mike Trout was a guy that's big and fast, that if you put a football in his hand, he can make something happen, or he's tackling somebody. And it's one of those that what you got to realize is, Trey Ferg, when you say that,
that's why he's playing baseball. He realized he could not get hit in football. That's why he's playing baseball. He's baseball.
No. I'm talking about the guys that play college football. I'm talking about them guys that they made the decision. I'm talking about them. I'm not talking about the guys that they play ball their whole life. Because when you talk about like switching sports like that, it gets a little on the line of like disrespecting like guys in the other game. Like I didn't like that. I understand.
He understood in high school that he was not a football player. He understood.
The guys some guys know. Like I did say that Miriam Barber, may rest in peace. He played football with Joe Mauer. And Joe Mauer was one of those guys who was just like, he could have played both, but it was like clearly, he's going to the Hall of Fame in baseball, so he made the right call. But it's cool to see the guys that did play both. But I didn't get a chance to really. I actually still do the traditional. I've been doing this probably for the last couple of years. When it comes to the All-Star break, since I pay so much attention, I kind of fall back on it. So I'll like peek in because it was in Arlington. So I did I checked when the Rangers player played, when he did the home run derby. And then as far as the All-Star game, I peeked in on like some of the highlights just because I'm more amped up for Friday because the Rangers are 5 games back. And it's kind of like, hey, man, post All-Star break, I want them to make a run so they can make something happen at the trade deadline. But when you said Giancarlo Stanton, I've heard baseball people say he gets hurt so much because his body is too big for the game of baseball. I've literally heard people say that he's so big, violent swing. And
that's the thing, yeah. Is there a cost having all that extra muscle? These guys got lats, right? The freaks we used to be like Jose Canseco. Like when he came out, it was like, oh my gosh, like he was just a freakish athlete. Now I'm not saying I haven't seen a guy. There's obviously bigger players, like I said, Aaron Judge and those guys. But that introduced a whole steroid era and just all those guys being jacked up. But yeah, can you be healthy with all that, with those violent swings or diving after balls or whatever? It's like Aaron Judge and Stan. They're hurt. Stan's on the IL now. It's like you're not supposed to be that big being a player. Would you be better being more like a King Griffey Jr. type, a little bit more loose and nimble or whatever? But it just seems like baseball now, it's just these big muscular guys doing stuff, and it doesn't surprise me that a lot of these guys have a lot more muscle injuries and things of that nature because again, I just don't know if it serves the game as well. I'm not saying guys shouldn't lift weights and be strong, but I think some of these guys take it to such a degree that and you talk about football, but some of these guys were basketball players. Like I said, Aaron Judge is 6'7", so these guys might have been basketball players back in the day, and they said, well, I'll probably be better off playing baseball for at least for longevity. The way that's going. So it's a different era. But shout out to Loss. Said 6'4", being able to steal robbing guys. So you going over the fence like my man Dave Winfield with the Yankees. He used to watch. Actually, you guys go in YouTube, search YouTube for Dave Winfield. He would definitely go up into the stands using all 6'6", taking away balls or whatnot back in the day. So it's definitely an advantage being, I mean, I honestly salute the guys like Altuve and those guys who will be able to be as small as they are and still be able to compete in this game. But it just seems like
he's small, but even he's
5'9".
he's wide.
yeah,
He's
yeah, he's like bulked up. But like a player like the Astros, Kyle Tucker, he's strong. But like you was talking about Ken Griffey, he's not super muscular, but you could tell he's lean strong.
yeah.
So
Well, his is
like,
just a swing. He to this day, he still got the greatest swing. I mean, him and Bonds may be like the two greatest swings up, but it's like his is like effortless. Like when Bonds got on the sauce, his swing got more like just powerful or whatever. But even back when he was small with the Pirates, it was just as smooth. But Ken Griffey, that's like if I could put a baseball player in a lab or a video game, like that's the swing I want to emulate. It would have been Ken Griffey Jr.'s because it was like effortless. And it would still go 500 plus feet. I mean,
my favorite swing was Gary Sheffield.
Oh
now
yeah.
his was total opposite. It's weird, but it was like he wasn't trying to hit
power with his bat, and then when he just swing, it was just a crack of light.
But it was like straight. It wasn't like the bat didn't curve around. It's like he wanted to just like he was angry at the ball and he just like struck at it. You know what I mean? So yeah, but totally different strength. Both, as I think, both effective and certainly very productive players. I don't know certainly if Sheffield will ever make the Hall, but definitely again a very different type of swing, and he was able to get away there for years. But I mean, just pretty. I've never seen a prettier swing than Ken Griffey Jr. He was just like that, just like I said, it's like God made a baseball player, and that was it. And unfortunately, he got the injury bug. He might have made a run for 600-700 home runs if he didn't have all those injuries once he went to the Reds. So I mean, that's a lost what we could have had with that as well. But yeah, so again, baseball season's about to get back underway. After the All-Star break. Just real quick before we move on to the next block. Again, speaking of Aaron Judge, I think he came into the break at 34 home runs. What do you project? You think there's going to be a tail off? What do you project? You think he can get 60 again, or even break the official home run record at 62 or whatever? What do you guys think of his prospects in terms of how much you think he'll hit by the end of the season?
Me, I have two things. I want to ask y'all a question after I answer. I think he can get above 55, between 55 and 60.
So that's your over under. So over 55.
Yeah, over 55, close to 60.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Dontae?
I think he'll. I'm more so. He'll definitely probably get over 50. He might get as many as 55. But after doing the chase a couple of years ago, I don't think it's going to be more of a focus on that. Like he had that, and it was a good moment. But I think it's more so he's just going to go out there and maybe go for the 50 at least. But I think it's more so for, in his case, making sure that you're healthy and you're in a good position for the playoffs. Because I know once September comes around, especially with the New York media, they're going to be chirping like, you got to show up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think it will be probably a better case for him because somebody that has performed in the playoffs and is playing for a contract is Juan Soto. So I do think he'll just kind of go for the 50. And I will be interested to see what they're going to do in the playoffs.
Right. Shaunie, what's your over under?
I think he get over under 60. I say over.
Over 60? Okay.
At least 60 at the least. I think he'll be able to do it.
Hi. Well, certainly, I mean, the Yankees are one game back of Baltimore. They've been in the skid, but I know Baltimore's been sliding also. So hopefully the Yankees can right the ship and get back to their winning ways, with the ball. But want to move into that was just off the cuff with the baseball. But you had a question. Go ahead, Trey.
Yeah. So my question to you all is, pertaining to America, which sport is king, baseball or football?
NFL, and I don't think there's a close second. Especially pro ball, I would say with college ball maybe being a close second.
I would say football for sure, just because from a simple standpoint.
College or pro? Saying college or pro?
I say pro,
baseball,
because everybody has that interest as far as the one central game, the Super Bowl and the playoffs. Everybody watching. Those numbers are outrageous.
What about you, Shaunie? Which sport is king, baseball or football? Pertaining to America,
it's football.
It's football.
football has an unofficial holiday, so it's always gonna be football.
It's baseball.
Baseball used to be. Baseball
Yeah,
used
baseball
to be, and
is.
then
It's baseball.
it
What
fell
what
off.
metric are you using, Trey?
If all sports had to stop and one sport could continue, it would be baseball. They would shut football down.
You got to show me some metrics there.
If we were living
Baseball
back
is
in the
bred.
40s,
Baseball is bred in young white kids from the time they can damn near walk. Baseball is king.
Well, if you're gonna talk on that angle, I may go in a different direction altogether. I may say NASCAR because that is. I remember driving one time through Dover, Delaware, and I went past, and I didn't even know. I was just driving. I didn't. I saw all these cars and RVs, and it's like I've been to like an NFL tailgate. This was like the equivalent of 5 NFL tailgates. It was just like one group after another. I'm like, what are all these cars doing here? And then I saw the track to the right, and then I realized where I was. It's like, oh, this is Dover. And Dover isn't even like the big one. We're not talking Talladega or Daytona or something like that. So if you want to talk about the sport, it may not again get the media coverage. But neither is baseball now because nobody, especially on the sports commentary shows, no one talks about baseball really in their block. Certainly not the A block. But NASCAR might be bigger than all of them because that's just an underground. That's just like the fandom there is rabid.
It's pretty big. I know. I remember it was a big deal when they made Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, and then they got into having the races. So it's big, but I wouldn't say. I don't know. I would say it's big to its base, and it has people that they do pay attention. But I don't know if it's on the par with baseball because it's just from the revenue standpoint for what they make. I was surprised. Baseball, as much as they give baseball and basketball flack for the viewership. But when you look at it, they both make the same amount. They both make about 8 million. Football just dwarfs everybody. Hockey's lower, and but they don't put college football out there, but it is in my case, I feel like it's a professional sport because the high level, a lot of the guys that are playing pro, and they may not all be pros, but it's professional money.
Right.
And so, I feel like just the fact that you can have the college that leans on the fact that that's the school that you grew up rooting for. Like I didn't go to Texas, but I root for them. But alma mater is Prairie View A&M, so it's like I love that school, and so many people love those big schools, and that they root for it, so they get that, and then you watch them at the pro level. Or the people that don't give a rip about college, and they just love they love the Giants, the 49ers, the Steelers, the Cowboys, and those big brands. Yeah. And I feel like if you ever go out and watch a little league park, you're going to see like it bothers me, but like in the spring you'll see kids now with the pads because now they do like some type of spring ball, and I feel like they're playing too much football. Like I think all youth sports, but that's a topic.
Yeah, I would certainly agree. Certainly from the young people up. Certainly, you start your kids in the sport or whatever. It's hard to get in. To me, it's hard to get into racing. You know what I mean? You got to have some dirt track somewhere and be willing to put your kids in through that. It's a lot more dangerous as an endeavor. But I'm just talking about the crowds. Where else do you see crowds, 250,000 people and up in the state? Indy 500 this past year was like 400,000 people in one spot. That just doesn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah. As a gathering like NASCAR during the summer, you're going to get those large crowds.
It's crazy. That's like 5 football. That's like, but how many times, especially in the baseball season, it's like they can't even get 25,000 in a baseball season unless it's like a big rivalry game or something like that, or like a Sunday night game or something. But average attendance at a Major League Baseball game might be like 25,000, 30,000. It's not.
It's hard to get 50,000 people doing 2:00 game on the work week. 25,000.
Look, I don't. You can put the NASCAR event any time of the day or night. Those players are showing up. Like I said, that's a different animal right there, man. That's a different.
To them, 'cause they come, they bring their RVs. They
that's what I'm saying. They travel cross country.
Rich folk. Those are rich folk.
You got a point because where they have the Texas Motor Speedway, they built because they know the traffic it brings. They
Hmm.
built an outlet mall. They have
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
those Bucky's gas stations and then an outlet mall, and then businesses all around there because they know
yep.
this is going to be the lifeblood when those people pack it out those couple times a year for those races. So you're not wrong at all. It's like the way they really
Yeah.
come out and support
Yeah,
their
that is
sport.
definitely on my bucket list. Like I said, to go to. I know I'm in Jersey, so I know Pennsylvania. They got Pocono track where they do NASCAR. Dover, like I said before, I would just like to just experience it,
Check it out.
just once.
Check it out. You'll love it if you get
But
out there on that track.
but that's a
Get out there on that
that's a
track.
No,
different
nah.
world. But it's
It's the track
Don't
is
get too
huge.
close though.
I
Exactly.
know.
Yeah,
Get out
yeah.
there on that track, man. TV does it a disservice.
Yeah, it
TV
does.
does
The
it a
track.
disservice.
You
Get
got to
out
remember
there.
that track is about 2 miles.
Yeah.
So it has
Yeah,
to
it's hard.
stretch.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to get a scale for
So and they got like
a
a
scale.
super. They got it's like the banking angle on them things are like
That's the thing.
80
Yeah.
super.
miles an hour. 80, 100.
Absolutely, yeah. Lost is talking about come to Talladega. Yeah, Talladega's. But again, I've always been an IndyCar guy, but I know those Indy cars can't run on those NASCAR tracks. They just can't because especially Talladega and Daytona, them banks are almost like 45 degrees, man.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
those
it's like you
You
driving your
get a
car
hell. You get a
sideways.
hellified calf workout though.
Exactly. Or just walking up. Yeah, just do some. Yeah,
Exactly.
just run up and run back down.
You don't know how steep them things are till you actually see like, damn.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Talladega is in fact Talladega is I want to say it's the largest track in the world. It's like 2.66 miles around. I think Indy is 2.5, and then you got the other ones about like I said 1.5. When you talk about super speedways, I think certainly Talladega is the largest in the world. And but again, another thing too, I like seeing speed, so that's why I'm not a fan of road courses. That's why I'm not a big fan of Formula One because it is it's just too much like car derby more so than
Oh,
racing.
those
You
the
know what I mean?
ones that when they ride through
Yeah,
like
when they
Yeah,
going
valleys
down.
and
I
stuff.
watched the Monaco for the first time this past year, and they crashed in the first lap. And the race was like delayed for like an hour and a half just to clean up. I mean, cars were literally getting wedged under and flipped over and stuff. And this is just the race opening up. So I'm like, come on, man. I mean, this is supposed to be, entertainment, and I just wasn't enthused with it. But let's move to the next block. So let's talk a little NFL. So again, the big news is that in free agent market, Brandon Ayuk of the 49ers told them that he wants to be traded. So now he's on the block, and again, I have up here a list of the from Pro Football Focus. He is ranked as the 8th best wide receiver in the NFL. So certainly he's looking at any team that wants him. I know the Steelers. The big news is like people saying that he wants him. He bears an uncanny resemblance to Mike Tomlin. If you put up Mike Tomlin and Brandon Ayuk, apparently they're very they look like each other. But I don't know. I just think the Steelers. I don't think that they don't put that kind of money out. Certainly not for a wide receiver. So I can't see them making that move unless the 49ers ate some of that contract or whatever and just wanted to get rid of him. I can't see the Steelers, going in for that. So, one, what do you guys think of the demand for the trade? Do you think they will trade him? What do you think they'll get for him? What kind of money that he's looking at? And would you just think, also, like I said, he's ranked 8th. And just to kind of give you the top guys, so they got Justin Jefferson, number 1, followed by Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb 4, A.J. Brown 5, Devontae Adams 6, and then Amon St. Brown, and then Brandon Ayuk. So you can hit it any way you want. You can either talk about his position, and just for perspective, Cooper Kupp is 9th and Deebo Samuel's 10th. So that's wherever you want to take that, the ranking, the potential trade, where you think he goes, and how much you think 49ers will get for him. So whoever wants to take that on.
Okay, I'll take that one. I'll say this: he's a player that's ascending as far as his numbers. If you go and look at it, I got it pulled up. He gave you 748 rookie year. Now 748 5 TDs, 826 5 TDs. Then he gave you first 1,000-yard season the year before. He gave you 1,000 on 78 catches and 8 touchdowns. This year he gave you 75, 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns at 17 yards a catch. So it's just like you're getting a guy that's 25 years old and that's in the prime. I would say I know your Steelers don't, and I obviously don't got no love for the Steelers at all, but I would say it's a move that as a team you should make as an investment because even if you have you need a bell cow guy that can be the guy that's a number one. And I'll say this, Debo Samuel's a better weapon because you can use him reversely. You can put him in the backfield. You can throw it to him short. But Brandon Ayuk is a guy that's good running after the catch as well. But I think he's a better route runner, a better receiver than Debo Samuel is. I think you could get as much as a first round pick. I don't think it'll be a thing where you get two firsts, but I think you would get a first, maybe like a first and a fourth. That's just from a value perspective. And since he's looking for the deal, I'm not sure how it. I had to brush off my caponomics. I think the team trading for him, they would basically he would get the deal once he gets there and traded. So you're trading for him on his current value, but it'll kind of be agreed upon that he's gonna sign the extension once he gets there for positions. But I might have to double check on that. I think that's how it works. But I'll say this: Debo Samuel did the same thing a couple years ago.
Right.
They gave him the deal. And I think this is posturing because if you saw your teammate do it, I'm going to do it the same way. And then for you to be a guy that, hey, when they really needed someone, they were able to depend on you. Debo has the injury issues, and I think at this point he surpassed him. He may not be able to say that, but his agent in negotiations can. And he definitely, I think he deserves his money. I hope he gets it. I hope all the guys get paid because the league is not for long. But I do think the 49ers are probably going to play hardball. And he's gonna have to play either under no contract or they'll work one out.
Right. Shaunie, what you got on this?
Well, one, I don't think the 49ers are going to trade him because they trying to win a title, and Ayuk is already he's going to be a free agent next season anyway. So they kind of stuck with him because they on the verge of really contending for a title. If they trade him, that could really set them back somewhat. The thing, and then they also remember they drafted another receiver that they like, Ricky Pearson from Florida, and so if Ayuk ends up going, they hope he could come and fill in, some of the spots, whatnot. But you'd rather keep Ayuk so your rookie can just develop as a number three receiver, get warmed up, and then kind of how like the Cowboys did with Lamb. You had Cooper. Then when Cooper left, okay, Lamb, you take over. So you don't want to just throw him in the fire like that so early. But the thing that's really interesting about Ayuk finished seventh in receiving yards this past season with just as I mentioned over 1,300. But he did all of that with only 105 targets. That's ranked number 36 compared to, let me just pull it right back up because compared to like Hill or Lamb, they was both. Lamb had 180, 81, and he finished just over 1,700. So that's how important Ayuk is to the 49ers. And the fact that, and you can see from both sides, from Ayuk saying, look, I'm giving you elite receiving numbers with damn near 2/3 of the targets. So I'm expecting I want my paycheck to be up there. Now 49ers got to do the 49ers got to do because they still have to. They ultimately because they've been doing all of this on Purdy's cheap contract. They ultimately got to pay him. So it's hard as hell right now to be a GM of some of these teams, man. 'Cause you got to the amount of juggling you have to do with these contracts, and man, we don't know if we can afford you because this dude is due, especially if you got a quarterback that you believe is your franchise QB. And good luck with that. But I think he deserves to get paid, but I don't think the 49ers are going to trade him just yet because they're trying to win a title. But they could all change though if they don't win anything this year because he's, like I say, he's the free agent and also
Right.
25.
And just to clarify, he's 26, so he's still very much in his prime. But I just wanted to put that out there. Turned 26 in March, so
He's still young.
yeah. Trey, what you got? Trey, what you got on this?
17 yards per reception. 17 yards per reception, and they wondering if they gonna pay him. Listen, they need to pay him and Purdy. They have the money to do it. And they're gonna need him. If they let him go, San Francisco will be a mid-level team. Well, they'll be a top team, but their record will be 10-7. They need him. If we haven't seen those numbers probably ever, averaging 17 yards a carry and get over 1,500 yards. That says a lot about who he is, but he's coming off his, I think they should pay him. They're going to have to pay him in the top 2 or 3. If he goes anywhere else, they'll immediately become a contender because a lot of teams are looking for a good receiver. I think with the rookie, if they keep Ayuk and put the rookie on the slot and Deebo Samuel stays healthy, with Christian McCaffrey, San Francisco could probably go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC, but the Eagles have gotten better. Dallas, hopefully, everybody ain't riding Dak's Brock. I think Dallas will be another contender. It's a whole lot of good teams in the NFC, man. It's going to be stepping up this year, so they need San Francisco can't afford to let him go.
Yeah, I agree. And again, Pearsall, I agree with. He's definitely he's from what I'm seeing, he's a slot receiver. They don't have with him and Diva, they don't have a long run hitter. I think Ayuk, he can certainly take it. He can take the top off as well as underneath. So yeah, I would definitely say it's in their best interest that they try to sign him. Shout out to man in chat. He says Jerry should pay him. So you want to try to pay him, and you still got it. What's the deal with CD? I haven't heard anything. So is he? What's going on with that?
He's holding out.
He's holding out, and it's the deal. And the thing is, you can't blame him because you want your money, but you saw this last year. Zach Martin held out, and they waited for a while. They played like a preseason game, and then that deal got done. And I think in this case, not that the other guys around him are just trash, but if you start a game and you have Brandon Cooks, you have a guy that hasn't been able to take the number 3 job, so he's going to get moved up to number 2 in Jalen Tolbert, and then you got your 6th-round pick from a year ago, and Jalen Brooks. You got those as your top 3 guys. Now, true enough, you have a good tight end in Jake Ferguson, but I think you would quickly see that in either camp or games, like, hey, this isn't enough. We got to get our lead dog in here because when he comes in, he commands everything, attention to him, and he can do so much. So I think it'll get done either right before camp or when camp starts or during training camp. I think for his, I'm certain on the Dak one. I just hopefully it gets done. Who knows?
Yeah. So Steelers, but again, being a Steelers fan, every time his name's been mentioned, before the draft. Steelers fans just fanning over him that, oh yeah, we got to get this guy. But this is before we had those major signings. We had Amon St. Brown got his $30 million, and then Justin Jefferson got his money. So his price tag is definitely going up. So you're talking $30 million and up. I just can't see, even with Omar Khan. I know he's made some aggressive moves and whatnot, but he's gotten guys at a bargain. I mean, he signed Patrick Queen. He could have got more if he would have held out. And obviously, he got the 2 quarterbacks. So I can't see if unless they give him an order for that he can't refuse, or they just want to unload him. I just can't see the Steelers playing for him. But it's like all the Steelers blogs. Every time you hear him breathe, they're on to say, "Oh, hey, we need Ayuk because we need our guy. He needs a partner or whatever." So so they're not sure if Pickens can carry be number 1 by himself. He needs another guy. So I just can't see that happening. But should be interesting. But what do you guys think of the rankings? So again, just to kind of give you the top 10. Again, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Amon St. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Cooper Kupp, and Deebo Samuel. Do you have any issues with that list? Should somebody be moved up or down? Anybody who you didn't see in that top 10 who needs to be there? What do you guys think of that top 10 ranking? And would you swap somebody out if you could?
I'll say this real quick. The list that you got, I'm not going to touch it because you can move any of those guys around, but I think that list is right on. But as far as switching them around, no, I don't got nothing to say about that.
And I agree with Trey. Like, basically, I look at it as tiers. So those names they belong on the top tiers now. You can move them around because just as Jefferson has talent as he is, who knows he's gonna be putting the same numbers because his quarterback situation is that's why they really paid him that much. So we taking your quarterback away, and we appreciate you for staying with us. So your numbers are about to drop. You can ask Devontae Adams when he went to Oakland or Vegas, and his numbers, even though he's still putting up good numbers, but it's not like it was with Rodgers. But yeah, you could put those. You can just move those receivers around. Um, the ones with the better quarterbacks going to put up better numbers. Um, I'm happy for St. Brown up there in Detroit because he got his money. And I was listening to his interview on the Pivot, and he was pissed off that he got drafted by Detroit because Detroit they didn't have nothing up there. You know, their culture was bad as far as they wasn't putting the wins on the
Yeah.
field. And next thing you know, him and Jared Goff they got up there, they changed a whole lot of stuff, so it worked out for him, and he got rewarded with a nice contract. So, but yeah, those receivers you can, like I said, we were just talking about Ayuk. He's putting up numbers, and all them receivers got higher targets than him.
Yeah.
So
I,
you
Right.
just move them up and down.
I, I think it's cool. I would kind of tend more so. I would switch some out. I like the ESPN list just a tad bit better because
Hmm.
everyone there, I would say, their list is obviously it's the same ones, but it's the consensus. Jefferson is one, Tyreek Hill is two, Jamar Chase three, Lamb four, Devontae Adams is five, AJ Brown six, Amon Ross St. Brown is seven, Mike Evans, is eight, Stephon Diggs is nine, and I would say 10 is Brandon Ayuk. And I would say for what I would say, I'm definitely taking Debo off because I know he's a good player, but I
Yeah,
like
I would agree with
49er fans to say he is a running back masquerading as a receiver. And I like to joke with him about that, but he's a good player and all. But I think Ayuk's the top dog. I would say Diggs. This is going to be an interesting year to see what he has left because if you burn, if you do the whole Dark Knight thing, you burn the house once. Okay, it was Kirk Cousins. We get it. Now you get with a young, great up and coming quarterback, Josh Allen. Now that's a problem. So now you trade it again. Now it's all on you. And when we've seen it, year one, he's going to be on his best behavior. He's trying to get another deal. He's going to put up numbers. What's going to happen going on with that as it goes further? Because this is a situation where it's like they got it where they're building the culture in Houston and he's a young quarterback. If you explode on him, they might just jettison you. And so I definitely think this year he's going to be on his best behavior if he wants the money, similar
Right.
to how T.O. used to do. He used to be like, yeah, if year one, honeymoon, and then
Right.
next thing you know, he's doing crunches in his driveway during practice.
Right. Shout out to Trey Taylor. He's very confident that he's going to Washington. So he got the former GM from San Fran, so he's very confident that Brandon will be in Chocolate City. So we'll see. We'll see.
I think that would be a good deal. I want to see like a young quarterback like a Jaden Daniels, succeed. So
Well,
to see
him
Yeah.
and
him,
Ayuk are close because they was at Arizona State together.
yeah, hmm that's crazy that he was in college that long. Like, because
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk has been in college, he's up for his next contract. And Jaden Daniels just got drafted. Like
Yeah.
the thing that made it weird about the COVID years is crazy. When
Yeah.
when you think about it, it's
Yeah,
like they
right.
was at
But I think COVID helped the athletes out greater than anything
Right.
because they implemented the NIL. And think about it, you can get that college degree, go to the NFL, and get paid millions. You set for
can.
life. You know,
You
it's just
can get set up real nice. Yeah, I agree. I agree that some players were able to take care of it and get it. I think as it goes on, I would love to see it be I would love to see it be regulated in the schools to just flat out they coming and they're paying the guys just so
Mhm.
they won't be like the defensive tackle for the Bears. We gotta do a show on that one day. He
just
basically
pay
his
everybody
NIL,
60,000 a year. Just pay them 60,000 a
his
year.
NIL deal was like a payday loan,
Yeah.
so he had to pay
I,
all that money back. And so
I
I was
mean,
like,
that's
oh,
what he signed. That's what he signed.
and that's
I
why
got
you
a
need to be
question though for
regulated
y'all.
because he's 22 years old, 22 and only 22 years old. You got to
Well,
have somebody to look over the paperwork for you.
well, we listen. You have family members. It's a lot of information out there. You go to college. That's the time to up your level of investigative education. I mean, this is not new, especially going forward to the future. Guys should definitely read their contracts, and you know, I don't know, man. It's hard to say, man, because I believe all athletes on any level should get a level of compensation, whether you go to NAIA, HBCU, all of those levels should, even if it's $150 a week, a month, or whatever. I think that could do a great benefit to every athlete. It's billions of dollars made, billions, and paying $5 million out of pocket to the players a year, $10 million, because a lot of players are getting endorsements from major brand companies who charge an arm and a leg for you to purchase their product. So, for the smaller players in the smaller schools, I think, they should be compensated to some capacity. A lot more brothers would go to college and graduate, which would be a great benefit.
I heard that. Yeah, my only problem with the list, I agree. I don't think Debo's a top 10. I think I wouldn't mind if you move someone like Papa Nakua. I think so. He had such a breakout year. I think he could certainly easily slide into that top 10 spot. And my only real beef with it, they got George Pinkins 30th on this list. Now, again, considering the woeful quarterback play from my franchise, so it's definitely, I guess they're definitely proving that the quarterback certainly has a lot to do with your success in the NFL. So I'm hoping he can at least get into the upper half of the echelon with better quarterback play from either Wilson or Justin Fields this year. But yeah, they definitely did my man dirty. But it just goes to show how the quarterback you have can have a lot to do with your success in the NFL level. So I just hope that can change out. But I want to stay within go ahead.
I had
Go ahead.
question for y'all since we on football, and it's basically with dealing with the quarterbacks. So I was listening. I heard this on the radio a couple of days ago. Do y'all feel like that we may have another season storyline? I say as we did with last year's draft. So last year it was Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, and then the way C.J. Stroud took off, people immediately started looking at Carolina. Do y'all pick the wrong quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
So I was listening now between now you have Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, and I'm
Right.
hearing good things right now with Daniels, what he's doing right now in Washington. But I say this about Williams: I do not remember a rookie quarter because normally rookie quarterbacks go on, especially if they're like a top 1 or 2 pick. Their team is down in the dumps.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams is actually coming to a Bears team that has a solid defense. They have a run game. That dude has Roma Doomsday, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. He already has a receiving squad. So this dude probably, as far as I can remember, is probably a number 1 overall draft pick as a quarterback coming in as the best team I can remember a quarterback coming to.
Right.
So he obviously right now has on paper has a better team than Daniels. But do you still see Daniels? Because I'm not expecting him to be C.J. Stroud. That's a lightning flash as far as a rookie QB coming and having that type of success that fast. Usually they got to have some type of learning curve or growing pains. But C.J. Stroud just came out, But do you think Daniels will come out and outshine Williams to the point that you're gonna start hearing storylines in the middle of the season saying Chicago? Remember, it was a lot of people thinking Daniels should have been number 1 overall. Chicago, you picked the wrong quarterback.
No, the situations are flipped. Like we saw that Stroud, we could see early, he had the weaponry to be able to do something. With Daniels, we know he has a proven target, and forgot his name of the receiver over there in Washington.
McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin. He has one guy that he can depend on, but the offensive line isn't the best. He has a new coaching staff. I think it's more so he has talent, but I don't know if it's just going to be able to pop off and see it in year one. They need to make some more adjustments. I don't think it will be that situation, but I think he does have talent. And I would say for both of them though have a tough divisions that they have to deal with. I would say the NFC North is not going to be kind to Caleb Williams. They got some
No, not at
young.
all. Especially now with the ascension of my man from Green Bay. So Love is ascending to me. I mean, he's going.
Love is ascending. The Lions, that defense is improving.
Love
If
is
they can
ascending.
continue
Green
to
Bay
get
is ascending
there.
because of Love. I think Vikings took a step back.
Vikings, yeah, the Vikings are definitely going to take a step back, but I want to say those two teams are going to beat on them just like I think the Cowboys and the Eagles are going to beat up on Jay Daniels, and then the Giants actually have a defense as well, so the offense might be terrible, but he will have to face a defense that got Brian Burns that added to it, and so you got another edge rushing threat along with Kayvon Thibodeau, so you got two guys on the edge. Oh, you got the big guy in the interior, those big old Clemson guys from a couple years ago. So they got a lot that they have there. So I will say he'll have that challenge, but they're just going to put him into the fire and see how it happens.
Trey shaking his head. So what you got, sir? You got something bent up. Go ahead.
In reference to Chicago, I think Chicago better come out 4-0. The quarterback is going to have problems in Chicago. Chicago fans are hard on players. They are hard on players. I'm telling you, the radios, the news, everybody, if a player is not performing, he's hearing it all over the city. I think they put the right people in position for him. I don't think they gave Justin Fields a chance like that. They didn't put those pieces there. Chicago's coaching staff since Lovie Smith has been some of the worst coaches in the league history. I don't think nobody had a winning season at all, not just a fluke season. So, I think Chicago has an opportunity as far as the quarterback. It's going to be interesting with the rookie quarterback class this year. I think a lot of them going to get a chance to play. Even my boy Penix down in Atlanta, I think he's going to get a chance to play. I think it's going to be a close race. If Williams, if he comes out slanging, and if he can read defenses, he'll be okay. The NFL is a little faster than college. Daniels, he doesn't have any pressure. He can come in, play average ball, play decent ball, and he'll be okay. Everybody else,
it's like Stroud.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot. My man up in Minnesota, if he has a decent, first half of the season, I think Minnesota will be all right. They just need a running game.
What's his name? The Michigan.
You talking about J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think they're going to go with the veteran first. I think they're going to go with Darnold first.
I don't know.
Sam Darnold. They're going to go with Sam Darnold first.
You might as well go with the rookie. If you're going to go with Sam Darnold, lose with the rookie. And let Sam Darnold come in the eighth game or something. You get okay. I understand. But Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I would say there's still some moving parts. Again, we just talked about the Ayuk situation. If in fact Washington gets Ayuk, then that may flip a little bit. I mean, that's obviously going to be certainly a nice arrow to have in your satchel. So I think there's just a lot of moving parts here, and we haven't seen, like, I've heard mixed reports coming out of Chicago in terms of how my man has looked at QB. So I got to see him on the field, on the NFL level. So for me, it's a little too early to see if he's gonna be able to sign or not. But I would agree with Trey that Chicago has not been certainly a friendly place for quarterbacks since the '85 Bears. They really haven't been kind to QBs there. It's not a place where you see a lot of guys thriving and whatnot. They've won. It's been based on their defense. So again, I think just the culture and the environment over there is something that he's going to have to contend with, and we'll see what happens. But
I agree with what you said. But go ahead.
For Trey in the comments, my bad. I'll give y'all that on weapons. What's the name is pretty good. Jahan Dotson. I forgot about him. I know you got some. You do have that.
He is, but the dude cost me so much in fantasy, man.
Oh man. But I'll say this. You can't say your line is okay. I want to say one of your tackles is Andrew Wiley. I don't see that. I know you said the Andretti's a guard, so interior. You got Tyler Biadasz. He's okay. He's decent. And I would say they have a lot to be left desired there. The defense, it took a huge regression last year. I think that's probably where what's the name, can come in, the new head coach, he can come in and help fix that. Because I know with the Cowboys, he turned that defense from one of the worst I've ever seen in my life to, decent, and then to end up being pretty good. So that's what the thing is. At least there's some hope. But I'll say this: don't be like Chicago, Trey. Don't be like Chicago where you're anxious for the quarterback. You got to give a quarterback time. I know he's not the youngest prospect in the world, but it's still his first season. Give him time. Give him another, at least the off season. Pick up the offense. Add some more to it to protect him, and then go from there.
'Cause I see Trey. He mentioned that DC fans aren't willing to be patient. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's the thing
gotta be
about
patient with
NFL teams right now. Fans and ownership are not patient with their players and coach, and keep the turnover rate be so high. But Mr. Ben, I agree with you saying like I just want to wait till you see on the field about some of the mixed reactions in Chicago, how Williams may be looking like so far in some of these workouts and whatnot. Don't really mean anything because they said the exact same thing about CJ Stroud during training camp and workouts because he was throwing passes that kept getting intercepted.
Yeah.
As soon as the regular season start, they see this dude just throwing touchdowns and no interceptions like that all over the place. So yeah, a lot of these dudes just gamers. People forget these are rookies, man. It's a learning curve that comes to this stuff, man. You gotta have some type of realism about these quarterbacks. That's the hardest position to play in professional sports. You gotta come and you ain't just gonna get it immediately. So they gotta learn all these different defensive coverages and their own playbook, and you just gotta give them time, man.
Yeah. Trey's trolling you guys again. Says good thing we hired y'all defensive coach and we have a better defense than the Cowboys.
Nah, there's no way you guys are gonna have a better defense than us. There's no way. I know the coach is really good, but I just look at the depth chart for the secondary. I don't see in his prime Daryl Green back there, and I don't see a Sean Taylor RIP on your secondary. And then you got old Bobby Wagner. This is not the Bobby Wagner that made like all those all pros in a row. Get out of here. I was being nice to y'all. Now I gotta come out of this shit. I
He's
should have came out with nice
dishing,
straight. I should have came straight out with it being rough.
That NFC East, that adds up before the season starts. NFC East beef is already shots fired.
So a good thing about this conversation is listen, we have 2 weeks. Get your popcorn ready.
That's right. That's right. So it's gonna be So we're gonna definitely have a training camp show. Yeah. But let's keep it in college ranks. So we got another block here. I put the story out in the chat with our group here. So again, there's been some noise made. I mean, Colorado, with just newness all around. One, Colorado joined the Big 12. Big 12 has been realigned, and so Colorado joined that conference. Prime had his press conference last week. Paul Feinbaum of ESPN, he has some very not so pleasant things to say about the program, not optimistic about the program's outlook in the last couple of years, that they're essentially going to be irrelevant. But he did certainly acknowledge that it does look like, as far as Heisman, early Heisman candidates, it could be either one of the, certainly Shador Sanders or the wide receiver, defensive back on the team, Travis Hunter. They might be 1-2 in Heisman balloting going into the year. But again, doesn't see them winning more than like 4 or 5 games, and basically going to be relatively irrelevant because again, they got they're in there with BYU, they're in there with Utah, and then of course I think with Texas is who else is it? TCU's in there. I don't know if that'll be a major issue, but it's going to be a competitive conference that they're going to be in. So one, what do you guys think about Colorado's prospects? They had a lot of turnover. I think they had like 50 players in the portal. So they're basically new all the way out. They got new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. You got Warren Sapp joined the staff. So it's just a complete make 180. So how much can you expect them to really pull together compared to last year? And are they still going to have that shine the way they did last year with all the celebrities and everything coming in? So again, and what's the guarantee that even after this year, especially once Prime's guys go to NFL, that Prime's even going to stay around? I personally, I don't think he has a 5-year plan there. I really don't. I could definitely see this being his last year at Colorado once Shador and get into the draft. So what do you guys think about Colorado? Their prospects for this year, especially with the new in the new conference. And also, if you want to just dovetail off of, Shaunie Sajor, prohibitive, favorites going in for the Heisman voting this year. And what do you think their prospects of winning it? I can't see unless I think as a Heisman, I think there's only been a couple guys in history have won where the team has had like a losing record. But I think, to win a Heisman, I think you need to have it, certainly, 8-9 wins at least. I think to be considered in the Heisman, to be a legit Heisman candidate. Again, it has been done before, but I think it's just rare. And I think with certainly Prime already going in, kind of put the target on his back already, saying, look, my wins, I can't win 9 games and not have my guys, get the academics together, or I can't talk about the academics of my team and not – not win games. So he's already putting the target on his back that my wins don't count like everybody else's. So it's like, I don't know if that's just to draw attention off the team and put it all on himself, but it's like he's already coming in with that kind of energy already. So what do you think about Colorado this year and their prospects? Let's kick it off. Trey, why don't you go first in this block?
Well, you made some very interesting statements and points. I think as far as him being there for 5 years, he's going to do that. I think he's going to do that. You already read off a potential 3 out of those 4 teams that they could compete against and possibly win. Texas, I'm not sure. Texas, they up and down. They may start off bad.
Yeah, they moved out. Yeah, Texas moved out. Yeah.
Okay, so they don't worry about Texas. So I can see them possibly winning the games in the divisions that they're in. The turnovers, I don't really get caught up in it. If he brought in some top tier players, maybe not the top 300, 400, 500, I think they should have a good team because you got a quarterback who's another year experience and he's already had success. You have a two-way. I think he's going to settle into a position. He's going to play 2 sides of the ball, but I think they're going to bring a little bit more depth in. You got the other son on defense. I think he could be a possibly late first round, early second round draft choice when he decides to go to the league. I don't know. I think Deion's a good coach. If he can motivate his players, I think they'll come. If they win 6 games, go to a bowl, that's a success for him. And then I think the tables are turned. He's going to be up against a lot, and he handles the pressure. He takes the pressure off the players. So most coaches won't do that. And I think he's one of the very few. So I believe they're going to have a winning season.
All right, so what's your over-under then? Wins?
6 and
6
5.
games, okay.
I don't know how many games they have on their complete schedule, 10 or 11.
Okay, I got their schedule right here, and I can
I was about to go because this is a completely different Big 12 conference now. Matter of fact, Big 12 is just its name. There's 16 teams in there, and right now it's Arizona State, Baylor, BYU, Central Florida, Cincinnati, Colorado, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, Utah, and West Virginia.
Brother Bennett, I changed it. 8 wins. 8 wins.
Well, all that turnover, you still have 8 wins. Wow.
Yes,
okay.
Because Colorado's the team that's been there, but it's an opportunity for Colorado to sort of be the big dog now.
Not with BYU and Utah. Those are going to be problems. So
8 wins. Those could be 2 of the 3 losses.
I gotta see
They
Colorado.
played Utah close last year, though. They did play Utah close last year in that game. So, but I want y'all to guess where they're projected to finish. 16-team conference. Guess where they project when they did the media poll. Their Big 12 was leaked last week. Y'all guess?
I'm saying 12 and below.
Yeah, that's what I said.
11.
Yeah.
They picked them to finish 11. And I'll say this, as far as not exactly sure where they're going to finish in the conference, but they've got to come out of the gate on fire so he can at least have that momentum, get the recruits to see that. North Dakota State, Nebraska on the road, and then I want to say
Dontae, you say Colorado playing North Dakota State?
The opening game, yeah.
Is
opening
that
game.
One?
Yes,
That's
televised game. I think it's a Thursday night game
an
or
L.
Friday.
That's an L. It's a reason why the boys do not schedule them to go to schools. That's an L.
You
They
think
gonna
that's
find out the
L?
hard way, man. That's an L. I'll say it again.
For
So
Colorado.
it's them, and then they got to go at Nebraska, and then they got to play a rivalry game, Colorado State, especially after last year in Colorado State. So that's going to be a good one. I can see that one get picked up. And then I want to say, then when they get in the conference play, they got Baylor, Central Florida, and then K State. So it's I will say from the conference games, the only ones that I'll say for sure, I'll say that I'm confident in them being able to win is Cincinnati. Cincinnati.
That's
Oh,
It's
five
the
wins
only
right
one I
there.
know for sure. The other ones are a coin flip. I mean, they got to go to Texas Tech. Texas Tech is not the greatest team in the world, but strange things happen out in Lubbock, man.
Yes, they
I
play
guess for Texas
hellfire
Tech,
Baylor in
strange
Lubbock.
things happen in
Yes.
Lubbock, and they have some talent over there. I know they always keep a quarterback in the system that they run, but they got a
Mhm.
five-star receiver that I wanted to come to Texas so bad, and Micah Hudson. So they've got some pieces over there, and they've actually produced in the last few years a few defensive players that have gone in the draft. So if they continue to develop guys over there, Baylor, that's going to be a dog fight. That's going to be a dog fight. Arizona smoked them last year, and they're going to Arizona. So it's the ones where it's like you don't know what K State is going to be. K State is a tough, hard nosed team, but I'll say they're a team that they is it one of their years where they're still putting it all together, or do they have enough talent? Because the thing is, it's not the NFL. Shador is going to be the better quarterback almost a lot of games when he places the other side. Like I know, like Central Florida has like KJ Jefferson came from transfer from Arkansas, um, but it's a big question mark, like you said, Mr. Bennett. The turnover, the offensive line. I know they added guys. You just don't know what you're going to get. It's a big mystery. So I
Right.
really need to see
Plus the
what they
changes
look
on the
like.
coaching staff. I mean, it's all I mean, just
A lot of
the whole thing has been revamped, so you just don't know going in. So, but Shaunie, what's your over under then?
Man, I got to see the trenches. So man, I'm gonna have to go under 5.
Under
Because
5.
last year
Gotcha.
they sucked in the trenches, and if they do anything like that this year, Big 12 is better than the Pac-12.
Hmm.
So I'm
Not
like I
that,
said,
not that, not that. This isn't the Pac-12 that they faced last year. This is a weaker conference that they're going to right now. Right
Yeah.
now, because there's no Texas and Oklahoma, that's gone and removed. I will say they still have to deal with Utah. Now they do play Utah at home. Kansas is a sneaky team.
yeah,
I
the
want to.
Pac-12 was top heavy.
I mean, they were top heavy, but then you got to look at who they played. Remember that stretch where it was just like, let me scroll up in that stretch that they ran against, and they won't ever see that again. Where they ran up against they ran up against
Oregon,
Oregon,
USC at
got
one
smoked,
time.
USC, and then Arizona State. They were able to sneak out of that one. They choked against Stanford and lost that one. UCLA, then Oregon State, then Arizona, then Washington State pummeled them, and then Utah beat them. They're not going to face a murderer's row of ranked teams like that. In the Big 12, they're going to face Utah, who I think will be ranked, who's picked to win the conference. And then I think that Oklahoma State at the end, I think it's an old Big 8 game. But I think that game they may be
Oklahoma State has arguably the best
the
running
best
back in the
running back.
country. He gonna run over Carter. Like I say,
He's
it's been
going
in trenches.
he's gonna run wild on them. Kansas is gonna give them problems in Utah. Those three stretches, and then Texas Tech on the road. They're gonna face some tough games, but I think Shador in the ability if he can get the ball last. I'm gonna stand with you. I'm gonna stand with you, Trey Bird. I'm gonna say 7. I'm going with 7.
Wow.
I'm gonna go
But
with
Mr.
7.
Bennett, I heard those comments that Feinbaum was saying about
Woo!
Colorado
Yeah.
and that
I
whole
can't
thing.
stand
I
him.
think it was Shador who was saying that playing against Colorado gonna be like everybody's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now, I think some of the media heads are kind of taking it too literal as far as you know, like I guess you going against this Super Bowl, this championship contending team. It's not that at all. It's the attention that Colorado gets. We
Yeah.
saw
Yeah.
that
For sure.
last year.
Yeah.
Oregon, when they had that, all that in the locker room, how they coach was saying stuff in the locker room. That's teams get up to play Colorado because you got
Mhm.
this team that you know you better than. They want to shut them up.
Right.
So that's why.
But do you think? But still, do you think that continues? I mean, so again, all that was true last year. I mean, they were the top viewership in college football last year. Let's say if they do come out against North Dakota State and lose, is it over? Are people going to be tuning in to watch Colorado get beat by somebody or barely eking out wins? Again, I mean, Prime can put all the stardust on this that he wants to. And he can come with the flash, and I'm hiring Sapp, and I'm hiring all these guys, and he can have the athletes. He can have Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. show up, and all the celebrity blitz around it. But again, I think there was some interest last year, obviously. Yeah. Will that continue if they come out let's say if they come out the first 4 games 1-3, is it essentially over? And again, me personally, I think if it comes out that way, I think he's gone at the end of this year. When Shedeur and Shiloh go in, he'll have really no other motivation to do, and Travis will be gone. So I mean, he could potentially have now again, one of the getting a little more depth on this in terms of these guys pro prospects, but he could certainly have potentially 3 first rounders in possibly in the top 10, top 15 going into the league next year. So again, what else is there left for him to do there? So I just don't think that they're going to have that same pressure, or if Shedeur is going to be saying, "Oh, we're like everyone's Super Bowl," I think people are going to tune out if they don't come out hitting the ground running here. I just don't see it.
They gonna get it. They gonna have eyes on them, but the way they flamed out last year, it's not gonna match. People are pretty much on like, man, y'all prove it to us basically now, because the unknown was what had people watch them last year. Then they won against TCU, who was ranked at the time. So that's what really got eyes on them. But the way they flamed out last season, I don't think the same amount or nearly as much eyeballs are going to be on them this season. They still going to be the talk of the town within the college football community. But last year was ridiculous.
But based on what, though? It won't be based on football.
It's going to be based off of, and Deion has said this. He said, it's not about those kids, it's me. People want to see him lose. I've heard from people that played with him, it was just like, I love him on Sundays, but Monday through Saturday, I hate him. I can't stand him. I hate his guts. And they don't like the way he gets down. They don't like the way he's gotten here. True enough, there's tons of things that you can poke shots at him about, but a lot of it is they want to see him embarrass himself. They don't. I mean, they want to see him lose. And for one thing, as far as popularity, I was playing the new college football game, glad that it's back. It's been too long. And I'm glad, most importantly, the players are getting paid. But I was looking at the celebrations you can do in the game. And you can do the Shedeur celebration, but only if you're playing with Colorado. That's the type of popularity impact that they have had for a team that was, 4-8? So it's like, yeah. And I was like, they're going to want to. So it's the first time you see Shedeur on SportsCenter holding up the watch, and that's the top play, that's going to put that bullseye back on them. I will say, I'm with you, Mr. Bennett. They got to win some early to keep the interest. They're going to have to win some of those. And if they win, you're going to see them put into the time zone for premium slotted games. You're going to see that.
And they have opportunity with this new Big 12 league. Some of those teams that's coming in, they really, Colorado is going to have an advantage. That's why I give them the number 6, because I think they're going to be able to win 6 games at least, outside of TCU being a playoff contender team.
Right. I thought you said 8 initially, though.
Yeah, no, I said 6 initially, then I changed it to 8.
Got greedy.
When he read out the list of teams in the league, then I changed it to 8.
All right, so you still staying on 8? So solid. You still got 8?
On 8, yes.
Stay okay. Dontae 7, and Shaunie, you 5, 4. I'm sticking with Shaunie. So me and Shaunie, we're gonna team up. I'm tag teaming with Shaunie on this one. I'm saying 4. I'm saying 5 games. And then we got to see.
Man, if they come out this first game and just get waxed by North Dakota State, I might have to. Next week after that, I might have to shrink it down some more.
I hear you. Just real quick, as far as the Heisman race, what do you think of the prospects of Shedeur or Shiloh, or sorry, not Shiloh, Travis Hunter, being potential Heisman winners? I can't see, again, if they don't win at least 8 games, I don't think it's a story, honestly. They got to win at least 8. But what do you think? Aw.
Messing around doing what you're not supposed to be doing.
There you go. Dontae, so what do you think of their prospects this year? Is Shador a legit Heisman candidate this year?
Yeah, he's a legit Heisman candidate because you look at it the way college football is. It's not just in football. You have the short few for the MVP. There's teams everywhere. You're gonna have about a list of probably 15 guys. You can say, hey, they are in position to be in the Heisman list. But it's gonna come to, is he playing important games in October and November? Like, are we gonna get to that game where they're playing against Oklahoma State where he can make another statement? Can he go in and beat Utah? Who I think is gonna be fighting and pushing for the conference. How is if he can be in position to do that, he can win the Heisman because the height and the name is gonna be there. The highlight plays. You saw the man go toe for toe with Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick. I just want to put some of the positive spin on it that the things we did. So I will say that Travis Hunter, if he can stay healthy, he can stay healthy and then managing him playing both sides of the ball. That uniqueness will probably get him more votes than Shador. Because it's like if he makes a big defensive play, locking up a guy and get a pick six, if he gets a pick six and an offensive touchdown in the same game, top 3. He's going to be top 3. And I think he'll be a guy that even if they do have some losses, he could be in New York. May not win, but the being in New York and that will raise his profile enough. But man, I appreciate y'all getting me excited about that. I like what they said about being the Super Bowl or whatever and them having that attitude. But it's just like being meek and humble is not, and super humble is not what their brand is. I would say going into the NFL, he can do that. But as of right now, go ahead and do that. That's fine. And we'll see how you do. And hopefully they don't get embarrassed, man. Hopefully they come out and they stand on business and do what and win some games. And hopefully their defense is better. Hopefully your front is better. I know they got a 5-star tackle over there and Seaton, and and it's gonna be thrown into the fire as a true freshman. But hopefully they're getting them ready.
I hear you. All right, guys, going into the final block for the evening. Moving into the sports media space. So, again, the big news this week for a lot of people, they've been praying for this for a long time. And some people might be disappointed. Again, it's as polarizing a figure as it gets in the sports media space. Skip Bayless and Undisputed. So, Fox has decided to move from Skip Bayless. Certainly, he's been certainly in the last 10 years, one of the pioneers, started ESPN with Cold Pizza. They moved to First Take, brought in Stephen A., and they certainly had the number 1 show for some time. Decides to move on to Fox, brings in Shannon Sharp, has a good show, not as good as First Take. So, again, I don't know where he gets these numbers from, but I don't think Undisputed ever topped First Take's numbers. But nevertheless, it was a successful show. And then everything went haywire last year. We all know about the on-air with Skip criticizing Shannon Sharp over Tom Brady and that divorce that happened that spun out of control very quickly. Again, we saw it got ugly actually on TV, not only with that, but then the shows following with the brother who played for the Bills and that debacle when Shannon took the day off and came back. And Skip has been trying to maintain the fort, and I guess he thought, look, I made Stephen A., and I made Shannon Sharp, so I can do it again. But the ratings have been dismal, certainly since the departure of Shannon Sharp. Now Skip, who's in his 70s now he's out at FS1, and I don't know who's going to pick him up from here. It might be that this could be the end of seeing him. He might have been focused on his YouTube channel at this point. But guys, what do you think of the news? Long overdue or shocked, or what do you guys fall on this? But this, when I heard this, I knew this would be a polarizing story. So just go around. What do you think, Dontae? What do you think the situation?
I love it because Skip Bayless is one of the cancers in the sports media industry. The reason why we have sports debate and the what they call them, the first fake shows, where there have been people that have been there on the scenes and said, okay, or well, I'm gonna have these talking points. You have this. This will get the most reaction. That started with Skip Bayless, and I used to really rock with Stephen A. And he's turned it into lots of that. So for him, for him to think that Shannon can come up like he did, have the viral clips, have the moments that he did in the viewership. I'm glad it was in the tank from what he did about that, from what he said about like Dak Prescott mentioned about suicidal thoughts and stuff, and the inappropriate things he said about that. He will say anything for shock value. From even going back, I couldn't believe when my dad told me this. It was true about the rumors he started about Troy Aikman back in the '90s, and they ran him out of Dallas. This man has had been a career of being a salacious guy. He's ate off of it. Did good for you, but I'm glad that he's
Yeah,
gone.
talk about that. Yeah, before you're going to talk about, because I know he started, I think, with the Dallas Morning News, Morning News. I know he's covered the Cowboys. He was there, I think, since the Landry days. So I know he's had a long history there with the Cowboys. So talk about that a little bit. His history with that. Was he good with the organ? Did the organization regard him well, or was he just like a person that got or what was that?
He's had to run out of it almost everywhere he's gotten. He was kind of getting because of the way he is, and I'll say somebody that knows him a lot that works and he's an insider for the Cowboys, works for Sports Illustrated. Mike Fisher hates his guts, and every time he mentions him, because he says that he's like, look, anytime you give him attention, he's doing everything for attention. So if you give it to him, he wins. So it's like he said, and he would always post his ratings. He would be like, the shows on Cartoon Network beat the ratings for FS1. He would say that almost on like a weekly basis, or every couple of weeks he would remind you. And I feel like when you watch like which documentary was it? I'm not sure if he was in Pony Excess, the 30 for 30, but there's some of those documentaries from the 80s.
Oh yeah, that's
he was in them, and you could tell, he was one of the guys because it was back when I think he went back so far when it was a 2-paper town. Before it was the Morning News and another paper. So he put in the work. Yeah, I think he was in there putting in the work, but it's just that you're gonna do whatever you can to get that story, and it's gonna rub people the wrong way, and he just doesn't care. And like the whole LeBron thing, he's held on to that, and it's just like I think people are tired of his act. I've been tired of it. I would only watch the clips for Shannon because I supported him, and I think he got good at what he was doing, and they had a dynamic that was pretty good. But some of the things he did was just out of pocket, and like you said it in the chat, every now and then, eventually things come back. Things will come back. So I'm I like it. I'm good for it. And FS1 they can find someone else to kind of come up, and because really the stars over there are Nick Wright and Cowherd.
Yeah.
Cowherd has been flipping for a while, but I still like him every now and again.
Yeah. Shaunie, what you got on?
So think about when you was asking about between Skip and Troy Aikman, it was back in the '90s that he accused Aikman of being gay. So
what?
What?
I don't think I got that story. Wow.
If you remember the time back then in the '90s, it's not like today. Being gay, people.
Yeah, definitely. I'm saying that's a huge allegation.
Words back then, those were fight words.
Yeah.
So Aikman,
Aikman never forgot
it.
I wouldn't either.
He basically couldn't stand. Matter of fact, he got on Fox when they originally hired Skip for this Undisputed show. So yeah, he never was a big fan about that since. But yeah, Skip, and you could tell now it's nothing against people who decide they don't want to have kids. That's their personal decision. But the reason he did not want to have kids because he was all about his career. He didn't want anything to change his career because he wanted to stay with his whole, writing and all that stuff. So he made sure he told that to his wife when she. So I guess
Ernestine.
When she knew when he get with him, don't expect no kids because you're not getting enough from me.
Right.
But it's just basically the way he is. He is so like that whole LeBron thing. Like he no matter how outrageous it is, he will stand 10 toes down, and he has this huge obsession, like them that worship Tom Brady, and that was the thing that when him and Sharp got into it because he loved Brady so much, he was he literally disrespected Sharp on air because he was trying to, and Sharp wasn't really trying to compare himself to Brady, but Sharp was like, "Hey man, I'm a 3-time Super Bowl champion. I'm a Hall of Famer. Put some respect on my name." And he wanted to
Yeah,
mean that because he wants to
Put
talk
your
about
glasses back on.
yeah. Oh man.
So I'm like, ooh. So yeah, it's just the way he goes about it. Like Dante said, he'll say anything for clicks. He claims he don't have social media, but yeah, he be knowing what everybody be talking about on him. So I don't know what he be doing. But he has Twitter. But he claims he don't never read the comments. He probably don't. But yeah, it's. I think I knew it was time for that show to go once they had Little Wayne on as a panelist. I'm like, come
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It was
on.
you want to talk about click desperation?
jumped the shark. They jumped the shark. They did.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, get this dude off my TV.
I know. Trey, what you got on it, man?
Well, I'm not surprised after all this time. I think Fox knew it when things started to change that it was something that was going to happen. It's just unfortunate, but shit, shout out to Shannon Sharp, man. He took that and now he's making millions on YouTube and on ESPN. I mean,
You get
He just signed a new contract with ESPN too, so
yeah, so
but
it's gonna be
some
some
people-
changes all over. Cat
Yeah,
Williams,
well, some people say, how they say in the church, they say, "Look at God," because again, you could argue that might have been the best. That might have been the best thing that happened to Shannon Sharp that whole episode. Because I don't know if he would have launched Club Shay Shay or the what's his after show, the Nightcap show or whatever. So everything just opened up tremendously for him after that. So it just goes to show that a door closes even though abruptly. But another door opens. But yeah, I'm kind of thrilled at it because I think him and to an extent Stephen A. I think they really because I've always listened, like, especially back in the days before the shows got big, sports radio. So in New York, Mike and the Mad Dog and those guys. So there's always been that, but I think they took it to another level in terms of how they got personal with people. So if you look at Skip, how he got personal with Jalen Rose, how he got personal with Westbrook, Westbrook. He had a nickname for everybody, but Stephen A. did the same thing. I mean, we talk about Kwame Brown and just all these NBA players. He would just it got personal with certain guys, and then on the flip end, like I said, it was like just this devotion to guys like Tim Tebow, who by every statistical measure was not a good NFL quarterback at all. But he was just on the Tim Tebow bandwagon, for all that time, and it'd be like people like why? So I just think that they made sports commentary a bit personal. With guys, he certainly was unabashed in terms of his favorites and the people he didn't like. He just made so it almost he tried to make it like a caricature of these people, and I just don't think that's where sports radio. I don't think sports radio or sports media like that, sports commentary, need to go in that direction. We also, Richard, you got into with Richard Sherman. I'm surprised Richard Sherman even decided to work with him on that show, considering those earlier episodes. Terrell Owens, just nasty. And that's just the thing about it. And I remember even just watched a podcast. We talked about how we grew up. He doesn't even like his brother. He's got I think he's got a twin an older brother that looks exactly like him.
he's a popular chef.
Yeah, but it's like he's just cold. Talk about the Wiz. You got the Tin Man. Who's the one who didn't have a heart? I think that's Skip Bayless because he's just like, man, it's like what eggs you to go after people, and like you want to go after LeBron, who's been nothing but exemplary, and I'm not saying he's been perfect, but if you want to talk about a role model, ever since the deletion in Florida, his social stances, what he's tried to do with his school, he's just been a role model in so many senses. But it's like any talk of Jordan, he has to be then the enemy. Just like anybody talks about Tom Brady, he has to destroy the other guy. So again, I just think that era of media, and like I said, bless you. like I said, but even Stephen A. I mean, and then it's interesting because when Kwame got his podcast, when he got on YouTube, he went all in on Stephen A. And even Stephen A. had to address it. He couldn't run from it or whatever. So again, you got to be careful about what you say about people, because again, once people get into these spaces and platforms, these athletes, they will come back at you. And so he had to sort of take a back step a little bit. So again, I just think that they brought in, beyond just criticizing a player or his play, it just went to the next level. And I just think it just didn't add a lot of value. It might have gotten some ratings, but I think that players, I think, got tired of that. And I'm glad certainly they're moving on from it. I can't see him at 70. He's like in his 70s now, and I know he stays in great shape, but I can't see another network trying to pick him up. I've seen some of his YouTube stuff. It's not very entertaining per se, but I don't see who would come on with him. Who'd want to pick that up again. But he's kind of ruined every relationship that he's had with people, just because he just can't stand not being in that spot. And obviously there've been guys who did go on, like I said, Jalen Rose. He never had Jalen Rose on again after that. When he came on First Take. So yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said if you get him or upstage him, he's gonna kick you out of the rotation in the club of people that could host. He did the same thing to Bomani Jones. Bomani ripped him and made him look bad, and he's like, I never got invited again when he was at ESPN. And that's just how he rolls. He has to be the. What is that famous clip? It's my turn now. It's that's him.
It's kind of childish. Shaunie, tell me that's not so. Tell me that's not true.
I don't know what he.
Tell me that's not true.
I don't. Only thing I recognize about Tebow, he was a good college quarterback, and that's where it's at, man. They gave Tebow so much chances, man. They even brought that boy as a tight end on that. I'm like,
yeah. But I would say he has some very unusual wins. I would that year, because I still to this day, I'm still smart. And he beat our Steelers in the playoffs. And I can't get over that. I still can't. I haven't gotten over that one yet. That was 8 years ago. So he has some very interesting wins. With the most ridiculous number stat line for him to win a game was just unbelievable. So, but you had all these guys.
In college,
was that
dude? But
he was a beast. He was definitely a beast in college. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt he definitely performed there, but yeah, so again, I don't know what Fox is going to do. I don't know who they're going to elevate to try to have a spot. Like you said earlier, Dontae, they already have a morning spot with what's my man, Nick Wright, and that morning show seems to be pretty good. Craig Carton, who is interesting because he gets so many chances. I mean, he was in New York for all those years, so he was in the mornings. Mike the Mad Dog, came in the afternoon. Carton was in the morning. The guy's like he's like Teflon. He goes to jail, comes out. The guy constantly finds some guys just constantly find a landing spot. So Craig Carton, why he's able to go from where he was, and now he's as big as he ever's been. So I don't know if they're going to try to make a move to kind of elevate him to that, but I hope they don't bring Whitlock. I cannot stand Jason Whitlock.
I was about to ask, who would y'all watch the show of? Would it be Oakwood? With Skip?
None. Although, but again, I have to admit though, like Dontae said earlier, the chemistry between him and Shannon, it definitely took a lot. I like Max and Stephen A. I don't to an extent. I don't like First Take as much as I did when it was Max and Stephen A. For a lot of years. I like that pairing because Max, I think, and it's interesting how Max hasn't really done anything since he left First Take or whatever.
He had a morning show and he had his own show. And then he was just part of the ESPN cuts after.
Yeah, they cut out. But I'll be, if he decides to have a comeback and address the Stephen A, because apparently Stephen A, he made it kind of clear that he wanted him off the show. And a lot of people were saying it was because that Max kept showing him up. That a lot of people say, even Terrell Owens said, Max is more black than Stephen A when it comes to certain issues.
Stephen A said that he just felt the show just started getting kind of
stale or whatever. So, but look, I like Shannon being there. Chris Russo, I mean, he definitely has sort of like an all-star lineup. And again, Skip tried to do the same thing with just having different people on the show, but again, never captured the same energy as before. And so I don't know what Fox is going to do to try to fill that spot. But again, you already have online personalities. I don't see how you get more with that. You know what I mean? I can't see even like I said, you got Nick Wright. I can't see his all those folks who follow Skip audience, or they're going to automatically move to him or Colin Cowherd. I don't see everybody flocking to Cowherd either. I mean, they have their niches and they have their audiences. So I think that's going to be a big loss for Fox. And but again, having said that, it's really not a loss because the ratings for us they were terrible to begin with, and so now I don't see where they go with it. But it could be Skip might be one of the last dinosaurs from the old media to go out. But I said the guys certainly that have the YouTube channels now going and where things are going. I think he might have just got aged out. And I think the era that started, and I don't think he even started. You guys remember going back to who was that guy, Jim Rome? He might have been like the first. He might have been like the first guy who started that stuff because he got. I remember when Chris, that guy Everett from the Rams went on his show. Jim Everett went on his show and he flipped over the table on him. So I think he. So I think he started that kind of stuff, and but yeah, I think when sports media goes personal, I just think it's like something that it'll flame out quickly because Jim Rome didn't last. Certainly he wasn't nearly. I know he does stuff in the podcasting space still, but he's certainly not as big as he was at one time. But with that, coming to closing thoughts on the show, so we can certainly go around the room. But actually, Dontae, I want to kind of set yours up if you don't mind. Obviously, you had the passing of Kobe Bryant's father, Jelly Bean, I believe was his nickname. So it's just tragic that you had Kobe. Obviously, that was a tragic loss, and now his father died. And I know there was a lot of contention, certainly with the wife because they didn't approve of the marriage and everything. But any thoughts you want to say on his passing or anything you want to go, but I just want to set that up. I just want to get you, since you're the Laker fan, so I just want to get your commentary on that.
I will say this, it's a sad situation, as far as him passing away. And I remember about the championship ring being sold. They were like, man, I wonder if that was the reason why they were trying to pay for treatment. And I know that Vanessa released a statement and of course it was critiqued and it was just like, it's always a bad situation when you're not able to patch things up with family. And then someone passes away, and so that's unfortunate. But rest in peace. That he was, he actually had a pro career and produced one of the better basketball players we've ever seen. So it is condolences to the Bryant family, because especially after what they've been through, another blow like that is tough. But obviously, my final thoughts are right here. My tagline right there, man. Shout out to Jalen Brunson. I'll admit it. I was wrong. He's been a lot better than I thought. But it's just like, if you look at it still for the Mavericks case, like I told you, for the Mavs fans that told me when he left, you did replace him with a better player. Although long term, Brunson will be better than Kyrie, but you just went to the finals. So I'll say this: he gave up a contract he could have went last year. The escalators go up if you sign it later. He had a chance to sign a 5-year, $269 million deal if he waited to the end of the season. He did it this offseason and took 4 for 156. Being in New York, the way it breaks down, if you break down the numerical breakdown, he's not giving up as much as it looks. Winning a championship is important, but it is the ownership's job to get creative and figure out how to win that championship. Even if you extend it and you wait to the last minute to sign that extension, so that you're not at the extension point, there's all types of things that you can do. But him taking the pay cut and then Mikal Bridges and doing it, I know basketball players make a lot more than football players per average. I'm not a fan of that. Get all that you can. And I know you remember him, Mr. Bennett. Think about guys like Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
But at least you have this deal in this as a smaller guard. Well, he's not super small, but if you get hurt, then they're trying to package you like Zach LaVine and just trade you away. So always remember that in the back of your head. This is a business. You do not get favors. I know the union can't be happy with what they're doing in New York. And speaking of nepotism, the GM or the basketball operations guy is Leon Rose, used to be LeBron's agent. He is also his son. He is the agent for for Jalen Brunson, and Jalen Brunson's dad is there. It's a whole in New York. It's a whole kind of weird thing. Hopefully they'll win, but that still doesn't guarantee you to win a championship. So you go and get your money, and you respect the union, what they fought for. You get the maximum value because you are a superstar at this point in the biggest market. So y'all say you get out your money. So I don't approve of the move, but I understand it. I just don't like it.
Gotcha. Shaunie?
Well, mine it deals with the Cowboys, but not in the way y'all may guess. I'm looking at so on Netflix they have a show about the Cowboys cheerleaders. So I'm watching it, and you gotta give much props to them women because they have to try out for a cheerleader. And I think it's true for every cheerleading squad in the NFL professional sports. They have to try out for that team every season. So, and then I guess if they try again next year, they just call them vets, but that don't guarantee them a spot at all on the cheerleading squad. So I was watching it, and you see the women. It's not like high school cheerleading. It's more about dancing, concentration on dancing. So you got women from all different type of dancing backgrounds and whatnot, and you just see, and many of them hold like there was one of them. She's a full-time nurse. She go do her shift, get off, go practice for several hours, and they don't get paid that much. And one lady said they get paid equivalent to like a Chick-fil-A worker. So because they don't have that much games to perform and all that. I think they only perform at home games.
Yeah,
they get so.
Now I don't even think do they even get paid? I thought I remember
it's just super low. Like
that's what I'm saying. I thought there was a time they didn't get paid at all. It was just the privilege of being a cheerleader for an NFL team or whatever. But the pay was like very meager. Like you said, most of them have full-time jobs and they don't, so it's not like they'll make a career out of it.
It's super low, but especially though if you're a Cowboys, that's the highest cheerleading squad pretty much in American pro sports.
Oh, there was a movie done back, Trey. I don't know if you remember, in the 70s. It was like one of those ABC Sunday night movies or whatever about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. So you had all these celebrities. I don't know if Farrah Fawcett was in it. Some old stars or whatever. But they actually made a movie about the cheerleaders back in the day. It was on ABC. So so they were definitely a big deal even back then.
Well, you see that particular team. You may not get paid, but they get so much perks from it. Outside, cause they go see the soldiers and all this, and then just you could put that on your title, Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, and so much of that come with it.
Listen, now, this is my experience. I'm not a Cowboy fan by no means. My friends it goes to prove that Cowboys are America's team. They're America's team. They, like Shaunie said, they have the number one cheerleading group in all of America. The one cheerleading has been like that for 40 years. I was a young teenager when they started highlighting the teams. They've been making movies about Texas-style football, North Dallas 40. I don't know if you remember that, Mr. Bennett. North Dallas 40.
That great movie. Look, that movie, just on the side, that's in my top 5 football movies of all time. North Dallas 40, Friday Night Lights, Wildcats. Go back and see Wildcats. Draft Day, and Any Given Sunday. Those are my top 5 NFL films of all time. So I definitely recommend go back and watch North Dallas 40. It's more of to reality than you realize. But again, great film if you guys haven't seen it.
So, Brother Bennett, just based off their movie list of football, you don't take the movie with Mark Wahlberg and the Philadelphia Eagles. He's not in that group. That
was a good one. That doesn't crack the top 5. Doesn't crack the top 5. Yeah, Wildcats.
Since we own that, somebody said the damn Varsity Blues is a top 5 football movie.
It was a comedy, so I can see it was a good comedy.
It might be again top 10, but then also Tom Cruise. He did was that movie with Tom Cruise back in the day? I forget. Oh, geez, it's right on top of my list too. Tom Cruise, early. It's like 1982. What was it called? Oh, geez. All the right moves.
Yeah.
All the right moves. Yeah. Great film about a local high school Pittsburgh football team. Again, very gritty. Craig T. Nelson played the coach in that. Awesome. Again, that's definitely in my top 10. All right. So again, definitely honorable. Definitely, and of course, what do you call it? That movie with Burt Reynolds, and then they made a remake about the. Was that? Longest Yard. Yeah. I saw the Burt Reynolds, and I saw the remake. Yeah.
That's my number one. The original Longest Yard. That was it.
No, yeah, man. Yeah. So Trey, what's your final thoughts?
Hey, man, again, this is the middle of the summer. Salute to all the baseball players, man. Listen, football practice has started in the high school area close to you. July 15th is the first day, so teams are in conditioning. It's a great time to continue this conditioning, man. Young guys, get you some calf muscles, man. Get you some shoulders and some abs and necks and thighs. Get all of those muscles built up right now because winter will slow us down. But, yeah, man, it's a good time to be outside, man. So get outside, get you some exercise, drink plenty of water, stay hydrated. You know what I'm saying? And other than that, man, just try to be as safe as you can, man. And get ready for August 1st.
Yes. Awesome. And just to close out again, shout out to KP from KC5 who was in here earlier. The New York Giants apparently are on Hard Knocks. So I haven't watched yet, but they might have had their debut episode already. So definitely I'm going to check them out as well and, see how that's going. And shout out to Poppy Blanco coming in last minute. So he can't believe that in this block we're talking about the Cowboys, let alone the Cowboy cheerleaders. So I'd say we should save the best for last for him to come in and get some of that. So that we saved that for you, Poppy. We knew you'd be late. We knew you'd be late, so you came.
So. Look, Poppy, we talked about how bad the Giants were earlier, or we'll talk about that in our preseason when we do the pre-camp reviews. We'll talk about how on Hard Knocks, your quarterback, your front office is admitting that your quarterback sucks by trying to trade up for Jaden Daniels or Drake May. That's where your life is with the Giants. So just remember that. When we whoop our ass this year.
Well, definitely looking forward to next week. In fact, if we all get a chance to watch, maybe we can review Hard Knocks. I wouldn't mind doing that as well. Following the Giants this year, so that might be a fun spot for those of you guys have Max. I think it's still on HBO Max, right? I think that's always been where it's been. Yeah. So definitely check that out as well. Again, next week starts again. We're less than 10 days from training camp. The Olympic Games opens up next Friday, so we'll talk about that and anything all happening in the world of sports. Pretty quiet on the boxing front. Again, you had Bruce Ennis. He had a title defense in Philly last week, very successful. But again, the big fights are coming up. You got Crawford fighting in August, and unfortunately, your boy from Texas again, Spence. His fight actually got pushed back. So by the time he actually gets back in the ring, they're talking about it's been almost 2 years since he's been in the ring. So he still nurses some injuries still. So I don't know. I think he should, just kind of give it up at this point. His body's been through a lot of damage and whatnot. And I shouldn't mention this that I would. Jake Paul's fighting this weekend. I'm not watching it. But if he gets knocked out, then I'll definitely be sure to bring it up. But I have no interest in promoting Jake Paul or any of the these exhibitions, if you will. So, but with that, again, it's been a great show. I had a lot of fun tonight, guys. Definitely good topics, good energy, and definitely looking forward to seeing you guys next week. So again, for everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. Again, hit the like button on this, for the show, and we definitely look forward to seeing you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week. Stay cool. Again, all this, avoid the heat, stay hydrated. And, just be safe until we see you next time. So have a great night, everybody. Take care.
Peace.